Hi, this is Peyton with Girls Gone Right, and welcome to another episode of How Feminism Corrupted Women.
By all means, move at a glacial pace. You know how that thrills me.
If you have not already done so, make sure that you hit that subscribe button below. And if you want to go above and beyond, there is a Patreon linked in the description. And don't forget to tune into whatever podcast next Sunday, April 28th at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
You said your experience has been, you said outside of marriage makes your relationship stronger.
With my marriage. Can I please
Excuse me?
specifically say?
It is going to be spicy. I am so excited for the conversations we are going to create, so make sure that you check it out. It is going to be on whatever podcast, on their live on YouTube. If you are new here, I used to be a feminist in college. I was a liberal and wrote a lot of crazy feminist articles. I am entertained by the TikToks that I see of just women talking about these toxic dating trends and brutally roasting men on the internet for no reason. However, I don't blame them because their mind has been rewired to do so. They have been trained by professors, they have been trained by society and culture to do things like this that promote feminism, that actually push away men and don't make normal heterosexual relationships work anymore. So this is going to be, we're going to play the video, but this is a great example of hyper independence, which is something that feminism taught you, that you don't need no man, that you are completely independent. Anything a man can do, you can do better. There are so many things to unpack out of the feminist movement, but the number one thing was to detach from men, that you don't need a man. Being a feminist means that you don't need anyone but yourself, and it actually overpowered women. It actually made women hyper independent, too self-reliant, and it pushes away heterosexual relationships. So let's watch this video and let's debunk why this is wrong.
Just coming out of a date, and he's never gonna see me again, but he asked me a question that kind of made me go. He jokingly was like, oh, so who are these other guys that I'm in competition with? And I had to be like, other guys? No, you're in competition with me. You're competing against me because, listen, I'm fucking great. I'm fun. I know how to do everything for myself. But what is going to make you special enough for me to want to share my life with? Like, this man was like aghast because he was just like, I was being dead serious. You guys have to remember, you're fucking great. And I think the longer I'm single, which I think is like coming on it's coming up 3 years now. There is something else that like I love more than myself. I'm very sure of who I am as a person. Men are scared of independent women. Like, y'all should be. Like, if you are not coming in prepared and sure of yourself, then you're not game.
Okay, so there's a lot of things to unpack from this video here, but the statement when she said there is nothing more that she loves than herself is extremely toxic and self-centered. That doesn't make you a feminist. And this is something that the feminism movement promotes, is the self-love, so much so everything else is irrelevant, that you are God's greatest gift, that there is nothing wrong with you, that you are absolutely perfect, reaffirming your toxic bad behavior, and that someone should love you for all of that, even though it's toxic and it's bad and it's negative, and there are things that you should and could work on, but instead, nope, overlook it. You are absolutely perfect, girl. You do you. You're too good for him. You don't need him. Go off, queen. All of these horrible things that are incentivizing this toxic behavior. And the best dating advice that I have ever gotten was, you know what? You're not that great either. So remember that when you are going on dates and you pick out someone's flaws and you find the little things, turn it around, put yourself in someone else's shoes going on a date with you, and remember, you are not all that great either. Not in the sense that you should lower your standards, not in the sense that you deserve bad behavior and that you have less value. No, it just means do not put yourself on a pedestal when dating. You do need to be humble because we are imperfect. Everybody has flaws. That is completely normal. Some people have more flaws than others because they have not worked on themselves and they have toxic behaviors, and that's fine. But if it's these simple things and you are across from a perfectly good human being at a dinner table and you are judging the little things because you think so highly of yourself, that is extremely toxic behavior. And we're seeing this a lot on the internet. Like, yeah, go off, queen. You don't need him. Dump him. Find somebody better. The grass is greener on the other side. But then you have to remember, who are you? What are your flaws? Does God accept you for your flaws? Have you gone on dates and guys accepted you for your flaws, but you're not going to accept them for their little tiny flaws? Because girls list these lists of icks that are ridiculous things, like a man tying his shoes, disgusting. A man jumping on a trampoline, disgusting. A man going on a run, it gives me the ick. There are so many things that women criticize heavily on men on the internet. Imagine, let's just flip this around. Imagine if a guy started doing this, if guys started doing this about girls, things that gave them the ick about girls, girls would be livid. All these women would be absolutely pissed off. If guys were doing this to women, it would be not allowed. They would be canceled. Girls would be enraged. But it's different. We're allowed to do this. And feminism tells you that that's okay. You can roast men. We have completely gone the other way on the scale. The scale has completely flipped. This episode is sponsored by Shoot 270 Indoor Ranges at the Glock store. Before I left Nashville, I had a chance to stop by their indoor range, and guys, this is like something I have never seen before. Their private shooting rooms let you shoot at multiple targets in multiple directions, just like you might have to in a real life situation. You can draw from concealment holsters, which I do typically when training, and you can also use lasers, flashlights in a low light setting, and shoot from cover or on the move. You can shoot with full auto or with a suppressor, something that you can never do in a normal lane range. And let's be honest, shooting lanes are boring. This is real life training. So basically, if you want to train like your life depends on it, go check out these Shoot 270 indoor ranges at the Glock store in Nashville. So bring your friends, family, coworker, or maybe even a hinge date. It's a ton of fun, and I can't wait to visit the next time I'm back in Nashville. Something that I have learned is men don't love Miss Independent girls that act like they don't need men, because that's not true at all. Actually, we do need men, whether you like that or not. Whether you think you are the most independent women who don't need no man, you actually do need a man, in the sense that, you know what, maybe you don't need him to do little things for you, but it's nice when they do. And men actually compliment us so well, as we compliment them. Just as much as we need men to make us feel safe so we can be our most feminine self, men need women so they can feel like their most masculine self. A good example is, even if you don't need a man to help you with something, ask. Ask a man to help you with something. If you need something hung, if you need something built in, you have like a coffee table that you need built, ask a man. Usually men like to do those things because it gives them duty. It makes them feel like they're actually doing something, they're building something, they're more masculine because you asked them for help. There's a little twinkle in their eye because you reached out to them and they felt needed by you. Men actually thrive when they have duty and purpose and you give them direction and they feel good about doing something. Just as women feel good when men are protecting and providing for us, there's give and take. So whether or not you may not actually need a man to do something for you, maybe you don't actually need a man to build a coffee table for you. Maybe you can do it yourself just fine, but it's nice when you do that because you're helping each other fulfill your gender roles. And it is so beautiful when there is complementary between feminine and masculinity. It works out so well. It's in harmony. The thing about these Miss Independent girls is it actually comes off kind of masculine, right? When you act like you can do everything yourself and there's no place for a man in your life, what is a man thinking? You can do absolutely everything yourself. You don't need to spend time with him. You don't need him to teach or show you anything. And you act like you just don't have the time of day for him. I feel like when a man sits across from that and you're on a date, he doesn't see a way that he can fit into your life. When you have an extremely hectic work schedule and no time in between, how does he feel like he fits into your life? When you're with a man that's like that and he acts like there's no way for you to fit in his life, how do you feel? So you have to put yourself in his shoes, because also we are just human. We do want to feel needed at the end of the day. There is a desire to feel needed by one another. And when you act like you have no desire for this man and that you actually don't need him, how does he fit into that? So I do think that men find that unattractive, when you act way too independent, because it is a little masculine and women don't thrive in the most masculine areas. All in all, I feel like the Miss Independent Act is just unattractive. Just as women want to feel prioritized by a man, we want to be taken out on a date. We want to know that a man is thinking about us. We want to know that a man cares about us, and they do that through actions, by taking us out and us feeling safe around them and them doing those little things that make you feel good. Men also need that too, and they just need it in different ways. You can act independent, but also show that you need a man and that you value him. Show that you do depend on him a little bit, even if you don't need him to do things for you. Give him a little bit to show that he can do those things for you and that it does make life easier, and let him do those things for you, and you'd be surprised. You might actually enjoy that. Maybe you don't like being Miss Independent so much. So when we come together and we just step into our gender roles a little more, you might be a little happier and your relationship might harmonize just a little bit more. I know exactly how she's thinking because I used to be a feminist. I used to believe the same thing that she did, that I really didn't need a man, that I didn't want to be married, that I didn't want to have kids, that I truly just didn't need any of this, and that I was going to be everything that I needed in life. And what I realized is that is cold, and it's very lonely, and it's very unfulfilling, because that doesn't feel right to me. It doesn't feel innate to me. And I realized how much more beautiful life can be when you're doing it with a partner and you find ways to just make each other's lives easier, and you're fulfilling what you do best and they're fulfilling what they do best. And so, you know, I feel for her, because unfortunately society teaches you something totally different. And this is what the movement wants to sell you. The movement wants you to not be able to have a healthy heterosexual relationship. That is leftist propaganda bullshit. It's all lies. And let me tell you, when you go out with a man that makes you feel like a woman, when you go out with a man that holds doors open for you, that treats you like a queen, that treats you with respect, that does things for you just because they care about you, that makes you feel valued and heard and makes you feel safe, it changes a woman's brain. It makes you think a whole different way, and this woman desperately needs to experience that. You guys will never have to worry about me becoming a feminist ever again, because I love being a woman. I love when a man takes care of me. I love when I'm with a man that I can trust, that I can just shut off my brain and I can trust that he's aware of everything going on around us. He knows the next steps. I don't have to worry about getting in the car and going somewhere, like where am I going? What are the directions? And I just get to turn my brain off and I just become a different human being. I'm kind, I'm sweet, I'm not hyper aware. It's like the external shell that I usually have on me when I am just out in public, going out and doing errands, going out with my girlfriends and getting dinner. I'm like always a little hyper aware, right? Because as a woman, you do have to be aware of your surroundings and you have to have this hyper awareness. But when I am with a man that I can trust, all of that just shuts down and I can become my innermost feminine self, and it is the greatest thing ever. And for that reason, I will never be a feminist again. So you guys don't have to worry about me. I'm good. But these women out there, they're preaching these toxic dating ideologies. Go out with a real man and then we'll talk. Thank you guys for watching Girls Gone Right. If you have not already subscribed to this channel, make sure that you go ahead and hit that button below so you get notified for the next video.